This week on LTC News, a day for vets, collecting turkeys, Thanksgiving football. Stay with us. Welcome back to LTC News. I'm your news anchor, Al Gentili. Most of us take our Thanksgiving feast for granted, but thousands of area residents rely on food pantries to make their holiday special. Fortunately, the Merrimack Valley Food Bank addresses food scarcity on Thanksgiving and all year round. Amy Pescia, the Food Bank Executive Director, explains.
At the Merrimack Valley Food Bank, Thanksgiving is probably one of the busiest times of year. And everyone really deserves to have that traditional Thanksgiving dinner. You can see behind me that there are bags of potatoes. Within these large bags are 10 5-pound bags of potatoes. And that just gives you a perspective of how a food pantry that could be in Lowell or Lawrence or Haverhill that serves 100 families a week would be able to take several of those bags of potatoes and put them in a vehicle, bring it to their food pantry where it will either be placed on shelves where people can select it, or they'll put it directly into bags and boxes where individuals and families will access it. This is an example of what families or individuals will receive when they go to a food pantry. In this case, our mobile pantry, which delivers groceries to homebound seniors and disabled people, we received Market Basket gift cards as donations, and we're delivering these rather than trying to guess whether the person is able to cook a 10 or 12 pound turkey. These are the loose turkeys that we've had donated so far, and we anticipate filling a large watermelon bin with more that we'll receive during the week leading up to Thanksgiving. These are the cases of turkeys that we purchased at Market Basket using the financial and gift card donations that we received. In our entire service area, we can serve up to 80,000 people a month. And that includes Greater Lowell, which are the 7 towns surrounding Lowell, and Lawrence, Haverhill, Methuen, all the way up to southern New Hampshire as far west as Ayer, Fitchburg. And the people that are seeking help at the food pantries and meal programs are just like you and me. They're perhaps in between jobs. They've had their hours cut at work, and they're still responsible for carrying the financial burdens of health care for their family, transportation costs, rent or mortgage. People often think of the food bank and food pantries around Thanksgiving, and we hear around the community, you must be so busy this time of year. The truth is, we're busy this time of year, and it's also true that people need help with food throughout the year. If you know somebody that can use help with food, refer them to our website, which is mvfb.org. And on our website is a list of food pantries and meal programs where people can get help.
If you or a loved one is experiencing food insecurity this holiday season, the Merrimack Valley Food Bank is here to help. And you can help too by contributing financially or with your time. And now, Brian Dorrington, LTC Director of Municipal Programming, brings us his City Council Synopsis.
Hello and welcome to the City Council Synopsis for the meeting of November 16th, 2016. I may look dry to you now, but soon me and my parade will be rained on. In today's Sunspot, Chris Scott will interview City Manager Kevin Murphy on the very issue I'm going to talk about today. Of course, my knowledge pales in comparison to the city manager's, so anything I say should be taken with a grain of cinnamon. But don't worry, to make up for my inferior knowledge, I will add plenty of explosions, sound effects, and cute little kittens. Parking lots versus high-rise buildings versus recreational trails. That's the battle being fought on the north side of Industrial Ave. The city put forth an ordinance that would rezone a portion of Industrial Ave from HRC to GI. HRC stands for high-rise commercial, which is what the area is currently zoned for. GI stands for general industry, which is what the Jarvis Auto Group is requesting it be rezoned to. The Jarvis Auto Group is currently in negotiations to expand their Volkswagen dealership. I don't know many specifics about the deal, but I do know that in order to expand, they are required to add a new parking lot as part of the deal, or else the entire dealership will be shut down. Right now, Jarvis Auto doesn't have enough land to add a new parking lot, but they made a deal to purchase 2 acres of abandoned railroad track from Pan Am. Problem solved, right? Wrong. Portions of that 2 acres are zoned HRC, which wouldn't allow for a parking lot. If it were to be rezoned to GI, Jarvis Auto would be allowed to purchase their land, build their parking lot, and in doing so, finalize their deal with Volkswagen. Here's the catch. That 2 acres of land I mentioned is potentially an area that could connect the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail to the Concord River Greenway. That connection would be part of a larger project already in progress that would help create a 230-mile trail. Okay, I need a break, and so do you. Here you go.
This is beautiful Chrissy, the doll with beautiful hair that grows and grows. Turn the knob and her hair's shorter.
So to recap, Jarvis Auto needs to purchase 2 acres of land to build the parking lot they need so they can finalize their deal with Volkswagen. They've found the land, but they need it rezoned because it's not zoned for a parking lot. They want it rezoned, but if that happens, there may not be a connection between the rail trail and the greenway. If that area is not rezoned, Jarvis will be forced to close their dealership and move it somewhere else, possibly outside of Lowell. Both proponents and opponents of the rezoning spoke at the meeting. The proponents stressed that Jarvis Auto has been a great local business and deserved the opportunity to expand and not be forced to shut down. One proponent said she would rather have a parking lot there instead of a high-rise commercial building. The opponents made it clear that they would like to see Lowell's natural beauty preserved and that leisurely trails are good for residents and economic development. The councilors themselves seemed divided on the issue. Councilors Belanger and Milanazzo said they were ready to vote in support of the rezoning that night. They both mentioned that it would be a great benefit to the city to turn that parcel of land into a tax-producing commercial lot. Right now, Pan Am isn't paying any commercial real estate tax on the property. In the end, all of the councilors in attendance supported a motion put forth by Councilor Leary to wait until the meeting of December 6th to vote on the ordinance, because the city manager believes there may be a solution that would help both sides get what they want. You'll have to stay tuned for the Sunspot to hear his plan. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching and be swell.
November 11th is a day to remember the men and women who served the country in the armed forces. Every year, VFW Post 662 holds a breakfast and ceremony to commemorate their service and their sacrifice.
On Friday, November 11th, 2016, VFW Post 662 held a Veterans Day breakfast to honor military veterans who served in the United States Armed Forces. Renamed Veterans Day in 1954 in the United States, it celebrates the anniversary of the end of World War I, where major hostilities of the war were formally ended at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, when armistice with Germany went into effect.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?
Acting Commander Elkins then introduced the speakers of the day.
As we know, Veterans Day is a time for contemplation, to give us a moment to say thank you to the brave men and women who answered the call to serve our country.
There's no specific date and time more sacred to our country than the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, because that's when we as a nation stop to remember and say thank you. Thank you to those who served to win and preserve our freedom.
I'm happy to be here this morning to join with you in remembering the veterans of all wars over the years. On behalf of the city and the city council, let me just wish you all a good weekend.
To all service members, veterans, and their family members, I thank you for your service and your sacrifice. To all others, I thank you for being here and for your time. Please remember, freedom is not free. Service members and veterans paid for it. Thank you. God bless America, land that I love.
To end the day of celebration, the group gathered outside of the VFW post where the Gold Star wives and mothers placed their wreath on the monument. A final salute and taps was played by the Honor Guard. This is Jason Marshall reporting for LTC News.
Thanksgiving football is an age-old tradition. For 100 years, the classic rivalry was Lowell versus Lawrence, but for the last 20 years, the Lowell Red Raiders have taken on the Haverhill Hillies on Turkey Day. What's the outlook for this year? Lowell High student and sports reporter for the Raider Report, Pete Stylos, has an inside look into the rivalry and the possibilities for a big win.
My name is Pete Stylos. I'm a junior student athlete here at Lowell High School, and I'm a member of the Red Raiders football team. I play quarterback and defensive back, and today I'll be discussing the big game this Thanksgiving.
Lowell and Haverhill don't go too far back, as this rivalry between the Haverhill Hillies and the Lowell Red Raiders started back in 1998. Previously, Lowell has played Lawrence and Haverhill played Salem, New Hampshire. So far, there's been 18 games played between the two on Thanksgiving. Lowell is in the lead, winning 13, and Haverhill winning only 5 games. Last year's game was played at Trinity Stadium in Haverhill. The Hillies won 35-28. For the 2016 seasons, Lowell has improved its record to 4-6 with a high-scoring win over North Andover last week. The Hillies have been red hot and arguably had their best season in recent history with a 7-2 record. A win or loss on Thanksgiving would still be a historic season for the Hillies, as they had huge wins over football greats like Central Catholic and Andover High. Here, I got a chance to speak with some of the Lowell players.
And I have 2 LHS football players with me right now, which is your name?
Robbie Pinn.
Phillips Sakai.
And your positions?
Free safety.
Defensive end.
Now, what do you guys think about Haverhill? You've been watching film all week, I bet, and what are your thoughts on them?
I think Haverhill's all right, but, we're the better team, so, yeah.
I think Haverhill is a tough team. They had a really good start off to the season, and we just got to hit them hard, play hard, same way we played at the beginning of the Central game, and we should be fine.
Now, what do you think you need to do work on with, you think it's offense, defense, and what do you think Haverhill's strongest point is, and what do you need to do to shut that down?
Well, they have a really good running back, I heard. So if we can just stop the run game, plug up the holes, make everything bounce out, and have the linebackers and the safeties come and sweep it up, we should be fine.
If anything, just clean up our tackling, fix our pursuits.
And I have 3 more players with me.
Brennan Ty.
Zagahern.
Jordan Metopoulos.
And your positions?
Wide receiver and safety.
Safety and wide receiver.
Wide receiver and linebacker.
Now, what do you think of this Haverhill team, this 2016 Haverhill team?
Well, I think they're pretty good. They're big, they're fast, so we're going to have to be bigger and faster.
What do you think, Zach, as playing last year's game?
Pretty legit, good strong running game, big kids up front. But I think if we attack, right positions, and do what we need to do, we can get the W.
We got to focus all week, work hard, execute. It's big. That's a big thing for this week.
Okay, and what do you guys think you need to stop for the win. You need. What do you think? It's their offense, defense. What do you think? What do you think about that?
I think we need to put more points on the scoreboard than they do.
I think they have pretty good running back, so if we stop the run game, I think that's going good for us. We need to do that.
I'm not sure how good their quarterback is, so their pass game might be weak. Hopefully we can stop the run game and then win.
All right, thank you guys.
You're welcome, Stylos.
The crowd favorite right now is Haverhill, but they play the games for a reason, folks. Join us right here at Colley Stadium at Thursday, November 24th at 10 a.m. See you there, and happy Thanksgiving.
Let's join the Greater Merrimack Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau for their Let's Go weekly adventure advice.
Let's go with the Greater Merrimack Valley. Today we're here outside of City Hall in downtown Lowell to talk a little bit about the upcoming City of Lights Parade and holiday celebration. This long-standing event is taking place Saturday, November 26th from noon to 7 p.m. With over a dozen events taking place throughout the course of the day, there's plenty for you and your family to do and see downtown Lowell during the holiday celebration and City of Lights Parade. With the day kicking off at noon, there's many events including photos with Santa, a festival of wreaths where you might be the lucky winner to take home your favorite wreath, as well as a hot chocolate competition. For just 25 cents at each location, you can sample numerous different hot chocolates and vote for your favorite. At 4:30 p.m., the annual parade kicks off. This year, the Grand Marshal of the parade is our own Deb Belanger. Come join her, as well as many others throughout the streets of Lowell, and bring us to the final location of beautiful downtown Lowell. We will be lighting up City Hall, as well as numerous places throughout downtown Lowell. It's definitely the place to be Saturday, November 26th from noon to 7 p.m.
Deb Belanger has been the occasional host of our Let's Go segment and has served as the Executive Director of the Merrimack Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau for 17 years. With a long and fruitful career behind her, Belanger is now taking the helm of the Megan House Foundation, which works to aid young women battling addiction. We here at LTC wish her the best of luck. Even though there is hardly any sun to speak of in late November, here comes the sunspot. Enterprise editor of the Lowell Sun, Chris Scott, speaks with Lowell City Manager Kevin Murphy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Scott, the Enterprise Editor of The Sun. Thanks for tuning into this evening's edition of Sunspot. With me is Lowell City Manager Kevin Murphy. He's in his third year as the City Manager. We're going to talk to him tonight about some economic development issues. Kevin, last night at the City Council, there was a proposal to rezone a piece of property out off of Industrial Ave to allow a well-known local car dealership to expand. That's the Jarvis family. But there's some concerns about that. And how it might affect the connection of a recreational trail, a rail trail. So could you bring us up to speed and how that kind of came about and where it stands?
Sure. There's a trail that's used by people. It's called the Bruce Freeman Trail, and it ends right at the parking lot of the Cross Point Towers. And what the proponents of this trail want to do is to extend it along the Cross Point parking lot.
In the back.
In the
right?
back.
Yep.
Then down to Industrial Ave, and then down to the Concord River Greenway, past Target and under the Lowell Connector. So in order to connect from this side of Industrial Ave to that side of Industrial Ave, they need a right-of-way to go along this trail.
How long is it? How long are we talking, like that connection? Is it a mile or half mile or quarter mile? Do you know?
That connection is probably about, in total, we're talking about probably about 2 miles.
Okay.
But the contested area is about 600 feet.
Okay.
And what it is the first 600 feet of the parcel that Jarvis is purchasing is there's not enough room, according to the petitioner, to have a right-of-way for this trail and be able to park their cars that they're going to be doing there.
And this is to accept their new dealership there, the former Atamian Volkswagen franchise.
And they need to. So I mean, it's a great economic development opportunity, because not only are they going to, we're talking about parking cars, but as part of the sale, they have to build new buildings. So when you build the new buildings, that increases tax revenue. So it's a great economic development. This is one of those issues that where, you're always going to have one person saying, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea. In this case, it's the enthusiasts that are looking to extend the Bruce Freeman Rail.
Right. Now, Bruce Freeman, he's the former Chelmsford State Rep.
Yeah, an icon. I remember when I was a young aide at the State House, Bruce was there. What a wonderful man.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
Yeah.
So that trail comes down out of North Chelmsford, and they want to connect it to the very well-known Concord River Greenway. So to make this happen, right, the expansion that Jarvis wants, how many square feet is that? Could you? Do you know that?
I don't really know the amount of the square feet, but we're not talking about a lot of land.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get at.
It's really not that big of a. I mean, it's long, but it's narrow.
Okay.
So it's a great opportunity for both sides. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to work out an accommodation where Jarvis can expand their operations and increase economic development, and we can connect the bikeway all the way to the Concord River Greenway. So I have the name of a contact at this abutting landowner, and we're going to reach out and we're going to ask them if they can give us a 6-foot by 600-foot right-of-way along their parcel, so that we can join the riverway, the walkway.
So so then you wouldn't need to encroach on Jarvis's property, correct?
Right. Yeah.
But say, for instance, that other abutter, which is a private company out there, if they say no, right? Couldn't both proposals still work if Jarvis's proposal was just a little bit, if the blueprint for that was a little bit smaller?
Yeah. But they tell me that they can't make it smaller and accommodate the cars. But we have also entered into conversations with Jarvis that they would cooperate with us down the road in a monetary fashion, that if we had to maybe take that right-of-way by eminent domain, that they would contribute to the cost of a land taking if it comes to that point. I'm hoping it doesn't come to that point. I mean, if you've ever driven by, I live in this neighborhood, so I know this company, Adcarv.
You're right.
And I mean, it's a beautiful building. And this is at the back of the building, so I'm optimistic that we'll be able to do something there.
Now, Jarvis has hired a well-known local lawyer, Phil Nyman.
Second best lawyer ever in Lowell.
Who's the first?
Yeah, me.
I thought you might have said George Eliades, but if there's any local lawyer that knows the nuance of City Hall and getting a special permit or a rezoning done, it's him. So how would you describe the city's relationship with Phil Nyman through this? Has it been cordial?
Oh,
and a willingness to work together?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have utmost respect for Phil Nyman. I learned to practice law at his knee, so I have a lot of respect. We've had great conversations. They've been spirited at times.
Oh, I bet.
But that's what friends are. The good thing about friendships is that you can disagree, but you still remain friends afterwards. And the council has great respect for Phil Nyman also. They know that when he makes a representation that they'll cooperate with us in the future, you can take that to the bank. There's some people that come in and they'll say they'll cooperate and then they walk away. That's not going to happen with Nyman. And
Kevin,
it's not going to happen with Jarvis. Remember, Jarvis has been a tremendous business owner in Lowell for years, and they're good citizens, and they're not going to walk away.
From my City Hall days, I don't remember how many votes are needed for rezoning. Is it 6? It's 6. Okay. Do you think, kind of reading the tea leaves here, there's 6 votes on the City Council right now to rezone that property?
Well, I haven't done a poll, but
just reading the tea leaves.
Reading the tea leaves, if we can work out an accommodation, I think it'll be a unanimous vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about if you can't work out an accommodation?
I don't know the mathematics
right.
there. Yeah.
I saw there was a statement from Corey Belanger in today's paper where he described the proposal to connect the rail trail as a wish list, and so he's obviously for getting the rezoning done as soon as possible, even if it's at the expense of the rail trail. Do you share that sentiment?
Well, I know that there's no funding right now for extending it, so in a way it is a wish list. But I mean, I think everybody has to understand that we do have options. Even if we don't get the right of way from ADCOB by negotiations, we still can take that land by eminent domain. We don't want to do that because it's going to cost us. But if Jarvis is willing to participate and contribute to the cost of that, and then last night, the the bicyclists and the Appalachian Trail people.
Be careful what you say about bicyclists.
I know. But they said they were willing to do a fundraising efforts to connect the bikeway. So I thought that was very positive. Is that if it's going to cost us any money, they're going to help us out with the cost to make sure there is a connection.
Well, that's good news. We'll stay on that.
Yeah.
Let's move to another well-known economic development project. You've had several economic development achievements in your tenure. There's Markley, a couple of places up on Pawtucket Boulevard, the Salopoli project on Thorndike Street. Can you bring us up to date on where that stands? It's my understanding you did get the Mass Grants grant, correct?
Yeah, right, and a big announcement tomorrow. At 3:30 in the afternoon.
Okay. Is the big governor coming in? Or
no,
Jay Ash?
Jay Ash is coming.
Okay.
And we're going to be having an announcement at the site of the Thorndike Exchange on Gorham Street. Okay. On Thorndike Street.
Oh, no, I know what you meant. Yep.
Turns Gorham up a little further. We're going to have an announcement there at 3:30 tomorrow that we have received a $2 million grant, Mathworks Grant, to widen Thorndike Street at that area to provide, I mean, anybody who drives that area knows that it's impossible to take a left onto Highland Street, and it's impossible to take a left into the Gallagher Terminal. And this is going to resolve those two issues, and it's going to help spur the development of the Thorndike Exchange. So getting a lot of money from the state delegation.
That's good. But even with the Mass Grants grant, with the Mathworks grant, what Salopoli wants there, certain turn lanes in and out on a very busy lane, on a very busy road, that's still to be determined whether that actually happens, correct?
Well, we had great negotiations over this.
Over pizza?
No, I like espresso. What he wants to do is to take a left-hand, have the residents and the people that come there take a left-hand turn out of it
toward the downtown.
Toward the downtown, which when he first came up with that, I said, I mean, I wouldn't do that. I've lived here all my life. You'd be foolhardy to do something like that. But it was very important to him, so we finally negotiated an agreement that when the construction is completed, we will give him a 60-day trial. We'll allow them to do a left-hand turn, and we'll monitor it for 60 days. And if it's a fiasco, then we will stop it. But if it can be done, we'll allow him to do it.
Let's move to, we have 2 minutes left. It goes fast. Can you bring us up to date on any Hamilton Canal developments? Sure. They started on the Judicial Center. Right. It's all wrapped in the green fencing.
Yeah, but you're also going to see steel rising in May.
Okay.
I've had this construction schedule, and you'll be seeing steel going up in May.
Okay.
So that's a good sign. I'm going to be meeting with Wind Development next week because what we want to do is we're commissioning an independent marketing study because a marketing study hasn't been done.
That's a piece of news.
For the Hamilton Canal since they started it. So we want to know, is there a market for housing and at what price point? What's the market for commercial development and what's the price point? So these things haven't been done for a while. So we need to get a picture of what's available today.
A good blueprint there, right?
Exactly. So we're going to do a independent marketing study. Wind Development is going to pay for it. And that will be able to tell us what we need to do to develop the Hamilton Canal in this environment.
As we've discussed in the past, not here, but in private conversations, there appears to be some kind of a disagreement over how much should be commercial or residential, or so that marketing study might be able to put a lot of that to rest once and for all, right?
Yeah, once you have an independent study that says what is the market? Is the market for 50% commercial, 50% housing, or is it 90% commercial, 10% housing? That's what we really need to find out.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Thanks for meeting with us today, and there's some news there. Jay Ash is coming in tomorrow afternoon. So Kevin, thanks for meeting with us today. Good luck with your projects. Thank you for tuning in this evening. We'll talk to you next week.
As the holiday season kicks in, remember to think of those less fortunate. As a diverse community with many needs, people all over Lowell need your help. Donate to a charity, give your time, and help everyone in our community enjoy the holiday season. Also, I would like to wish a happy 2-year anniversary to my girlfriend Molly. Without you, I wouldn't be here. I'm Al Gentili, and be well.
For the land of the free